What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
Miller.
Jammin Jon.
And we have an album review for you. So one that we definitely had on our radar, and I would say was pretty anticipated, given the whole story of pitfalls and redemption with this band, was the new Machine Head album, Of Kingdom and Crown. This comes out on the 26th of August on Nuclear Blast Records. This band formed in 1991 in Oakland. I think we all kind of started with Burn My Eyes way back when. And
Yep.
that album, oh man, that album still rips.
I still love every bit of that album. In fact, every bit of that and The More Things Change.
Yeah.
Not every bit of The More Things Change. For me, anyway, but overall, Machine Head, huge Machine Head.
I mean, when I think of Machine Head, I think of Burn My Eyes.
Yeah, that's the go-to album
and
for me.
Ashes of Empires, that's another one of my I always go back to that one.
The Black Vein,
was
yeah.
good too. Yep. He's had a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of my favorite things in music have been done by this man.
In fact, this is their 10th full-length overall, and, well, all right, the career of Machine Head. There have been a lot of great albums. There have been some absolutely disastrous ones.
Yes.
So, this is always one of those bands like, oh my god, please don't shit the bed.
What am I going to get this time?
And we went over the last EP last year, and it actually features all the tracks that are on here. And needless to say, when we went into that, I was like, man, that fucking Catharsis album, oh god,
Don't
do that. Literally anything but that.
I can't have that.
Yeah, I've told them the story my wife was there when I was listening to vinyl, and she was like, so what'd you think? I was like, I'm never listening to this again.
Dude, I remembered when we saw the video for whatever fucking stupid track it was where they're throwing powdered sugar on each other or something.
Yeah.
And, I looked at you like, Miller, what do you think? I think I might cancel my pre-order. And I didn't buy it. That's the first Machine Head album I didn't buy when it came out. But we're not here, and slowly but surely...
That was then. This is now. This is now.
Yeah.
Everything is happening now. It's happening now.
Yeah.
Now, actually.
Not then, but now.
Yeah, like right now.
And, well, speaking of the future, we were kind of wondering what the future held for Machine Head. And, well, honestly, it sounds like the road to redemption, once again...
Sounds fucking awesome.
It sounds pretty good. The opening track right away, Slaughter of the Martyr, 10.5-minute opening track. Now, granted, it does take a little while to get going, but you kind of get the vibe he's trying to recapture the blackening at least. Mm-hmm. And it's a solid lead-in track. Once it gets going, the riffs are absolutely scorching. There's just like a lot of that brute heaviness that you come to expect from Machine Head.
Especially that riff under the solo, that very Rammstein kind of bah. Good stuff. Dig it.
And the guitar tone itself, again,
His guitar tone is always good.
I've always loved Rob Flynn's guitar tone, except...
well, the new metal years were...
except during the new metal years.
Yep. But man, that thrashy bite to it, a lot of it reminds me of like, modern Exodus. Like there's definitely a lot of comparisons you could draw with Gary Holt's, ultra sizzly, crunchy tone. And I would even say Overkill. Like, it just has this thrash bite and this sort of deep chug to it. And honestly, it just sounds like Machine Head again. And I was kind of worried, again. But this opens up very strong and very aggressively. Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate and Become the Firestorm are two of the most aggressive tracks right out in front. Back to back. You get blast beats and Become the Firestorm.
Like there's tremolos. Yep.
Death metal, maybe black metal. You get a clean chorus, but the rest of the song is brutal.
Yep. You get this sweet Davidian triplet chug. Yep.
And then Become the Firestorm, that transition right into that proggy thing is like really abrupt, but it's seamless. It flows very well. The songwriting is put together really well. Choke on the Ashes, the heavy part before the solo. That's one of my favorite parts of the album too. That is just badass.
Galloping, just thrashy beats. And, well, I mean, this is technically a new lineup. I mean, if we're not counting the EP. We have Naveen Koperwees, who did the session drums on here, and, known from Animals as Leaders, Entheos. Dude's a solid drummer. This is more straightforward for him, but the aggression that he brings to the drum work,
he does throw... Nice. You hear little nuances of his style throughout this. You get ghost notes in some songs. You get a lot of cymbal work. There's more syncopation with double kick. He's definitely not Dave McClain,
No.
But he's just as tight.
Yeah. Jared returns on bass and actually supplies a lot of really good, clean vocals, and I think harsh vocals in the background, too. And that's kind of something that was a little bit different here, where it's not Rob harmonizing with himself as often. It's Rob harmonizing with another singer who actually complements him really well.
Who can actually also sing.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's overdone a little bit, and especially in the middle part of the album.
But it was kind of an interesting dynamic that I think something that Rob wanted to do better before, but it, kind of hit or miss there. Like, when it comes down to vocals, like, I think Rob's a serviceable vocalist. He's got a good roar, he's got decent cleans, but it doesn't necessarily, like, excel at either one to, like, oh my god, he's like top tier. Right. But he's good.
And even, before he had a guy to do harmonies, when he did the harmonies, the vocal harmonies himself, I always thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
It was nothing, special to write home about necessarily, but he's always been good at what he does.
And then on guitars, we have Vogue from Decapitated, which that shouldn't surprise anyone since, Rob's on the last Decapitated album. Actually, fucking killer song, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Vogue has a little bit different pedigree. Again, I don't know how much of this he actually wrote. There's some moments on there where I'm absolutely certain that his influence is on there.
And we will talk about that when we get there.
But Vogue brings a lot of this hefty chug. If you listen to Decapitated, a lot of that is just big syncopated chugging, and man, it's just fucking awesome. I'll just gush a little bit about Decapitated there.
Now the song Rotten, to me at least, this is what I think most reminded me of old school Machine Head.
Yes.
This had very much Burn My Eyes and The More Things Change in it. Higher energy, riffy as fuck.
That old school groove metal bounce.
Yep.
And those signature Machine Head licks on guitar that you expect, those harmonics.
Yeah.
What was neat too is the breakdown of this song is almost slam riffs. It's heavy as
awesome,
fuck.
Though, yeah. It's really cool.
I will be honest, in terms of breakdowns on this album might pack some of the heaviest breakdowns of this band's entire career.
Machine Head's career, although it's
which is saying something.
It's tough to beat the live version of Davidian.
Oh yeah. But think to that level on almost all the breakdowns there, when like they dial up a breakdown, it's generally massive sounding, and that might be still all Rob. That could be Vogue in there too, but there's something about the breakdowns in this album that just feel heavier than before. Like, they're not just your typical Machine Head breakdowns. There's like elements of death metal or like some sort of prevailing doominess. There's like single chug deathcore breakdowns. They're like kind of similar, like Acacia Strain. And then you got songs like Bloodshot, which again kind of hark back to that earlier Machine Head sound. There's a lot more hardcore to it. It's kind of punky. Granted, the chorus sounds kind of familiar, except the person that did that chorus before was yelling Cutthroat.
Yes.
Back in 1996. But overall, the vibe of the song, I kind of like that. Again, it touches on their more hardcore side. The riffs are, a little bit, more, again, like kind of punky. Like, it kind of reminded me of Snapcase in a spot.
But they're still just as like catchy.
Yeah.
The breakdown in that song though too is pretty nasty.
Yeah. And my favorite thing about that song is there's no goddamn singy, chorusy shit like we got in, the middle part of the album here.
Yeah.
Unhallowed was where I started really, because we got My Hands Are Empty, which had some of that, and it was good, but Unhallowed, it was like, the chorus was repeated a lot.
Oh,
and he does that a lot in some of these songs, and it's just, I just didn't care for it too much.
Melody has always been like kind of a big thing in Machine Head, though I think like the earlier albums packed more of that visceral attitude.
Oh, yeah.
But albums like The Blackening, loads of catchy melodies throughout that album. But I think they kind of like overcompensate, and they just want to write these giant epic songs, and they kind of let like the big clean choruses overtake. Like My Hands Are Empty.
Yeah, dude, that song's annoying.
First off, the intro of it sounds like I'm flying into Wakanda. Lots of oohs and ahs and
chanted kind of singing.
See, I didn't mind this song too much, because the overdose thing, I get what he's doing. You see the overdose, you hear the machines at the hospital, the nurse, I'm sorry, and then you have these like demons just pulling you in. My Hands Are Empty starts with this like descent into hell, very tribal sounding. And it goes into those really killer riffs. But this song would be killer if you would take out like the last chorus before the solo and just not repeated vocals over the chorus the rest of the time. So when they come back into the chorus line, just don't sing. Just let the fucking music go. And that song would have been killer. But instead they start this trend going into Unhallowed and Assimilate and Kill the Enemies, where it's just more chorus. And in No Gods, No Masters, the best part about that was that bridge, that end part was just
and the
most
breakdown.
epic breakdown.
The triplet chug breakdown.
It was gross. It was gross, but it was getting to a point where it was kind of rut at that.
Stop with the choir.
Yeah.
Stop with the choir.
It got to be too much, right? Especially, again, My Hands Are Empty. That opening little flying into Wakanda International Airport vibe.
I dug it.
Well, it repeats in the chorus, though.
Yeah, dude.
Over
times.
and over. And
That's why repeating.
The chorus is just a refrain of words with the oohs and ahs behind it. And after a while, I was like, okay, I feel like you could have done more with this chorus. Like, all right, take your basic oohs and ahs in the background and write like a big, chorus behind it. Because, I mean, that feels like what you're shooting for. And the contrast between the heavier moments and that chorus on that song, it just feels too much. Like you got a really good bridge on there that's nice and heavy and kind of thrashy, and then you're back to The Lion King or what the fuck ever is going on there.
Well, I thought the music behind it was good enough that they just didn't even have to have vocals over it. Just repeat those lines and I don't know. But we got what we got.
And Unhollowed, I mean, again, they kind of laid on the big, chorus on there too. It kind of overtook the song again, much like My Hands Are Empty or Full of Chorus. But at least with, Unhollowed, you got a really good thrashy bridge. And honestly, like, that's the side I wanted to hear a little bit more, like the old school Machine Head sound, that kind of hardcore groove metal, a little bit of thrash, and then kind of what they did on, The Blackening and Unto the Locust and shit like that, where there's a fierce, like, sort of nod to Bay Area thrash, because, I mean, Rob was in Violence, and Violence was a sick band, is a sick band.
Yeah.
We'll just go ahead and say is. And I have to say, for me, a weakness that, well, I mean, it kind of started popping up in some later albums. Lyrically, Rob, man, sometimes his lyrics just aren't very good. Like, I get what he's saying, and a lot of it I actually, understand. Like, hey, like, I'm with you on that. Just how you deliver them. They kind of come off a little bit cringy and a little just, I don't know, like not phrased very well. But at the same time, he's trying for emotional impact, and I kind of get that, and, this is what he feels. But at the same time, there's got to be a different way to structure it. Like, this isn't like fucking Ivan Moody, which, that dude, his lyrics have all these substance of a Denny's menu.
Barf in my fucking hat.
That too. You can do that in the Denny's parking lot where you read his lyrics.
Right in front of the Meyer where I picked up the album.
And in terms of like vocal prowess, I think Rob may have lost a little bit. Surprisingly, it's on the harsher vocals. Like, they don't feel like they have as much punch.
See, now, to me, because I thought that in the beginning of the album. Like, the first couple songs, it didn't seem like he quite had all the gusto that he had. But when you get into stuff like Rotten and fucking Bloodshot and shit like that, you can hear it. It's still there. It just may not have as much of the gusto.
I feel like the production helps him out a little bit. There's a lot of vocal production, but honestly, the clean vocals, granted, I don't necessarily want them all the time with the big epic choruses, but they're actually well done. Actually, these are probably some of Rob's best clean vocals to date.
Agreed. The clean vocals definitely have their place in metal. You get them all the time. But Machine Head...
Machine fucking Head.
Yeah.
Machine fucking Head.
Dude, I have a shirt that says Machine fucking Head.
Yeah, with all these clean choruses, I feel like I can't say the fucking part in between Machine and Head. Like, it feels like, that's naughty.
Machine might get head.
That's naughtier.
And then it closes with Arrows and Words from the Sky, which again was the last track off of the EP that they released. And I loved this track then, and I still love it now. It is a banger. Reminds me a lot of the last track on Through the Ashes. Now, this is probably actually the song where you get the heaviest breakdown, I think. It is fucking downright brutal.
Yep.
Even the clean singing on this, I'm going to allow. It was well done. The leads actually remind me a lot of Zakk Wylde.
Scorching leads.
Yep.
I think a lot of the leads were Rob, too. And
Rob's the shit.
Yeah.
Like, this was a good way to close at least this version of the album.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I did make like it wasn't really a slight dig, but I mean, it kind of feels like it just because I know people don't like metalcore, but it did remind me of that more epic side of like Kill Switch Engage, like leading in. Like, it has that big soaring vibe to it, and it's just fucking solid song. Actually, it kind of reminds me of the opening track on here, except maybe a little bit more trimmed down.
But even in this one, though, speaking of choruses, I think with this song, at the end, instead of that little break and then that little hesitation, and then they go into that nasty ass riff, and they come out of that, and then they go back into the chorus. They could have came out of that nasty into that next part, and then from that next part just went right back into the nasty riff, gave it to us again, and ended the song.
Yeah, but they
and it would have been awesome.
You remember in the Blackening they did that in Halo too.
Yeah, and it was
they
fucking
had that
sweet.
awesome fucking thing. But I mean, I don't mind it. I think out of the things that they could have done, they could have made this worse.
Oh yeah, no.
Out of the things that they could have done, I think they made the right choice considering.
Yes.
I want most Machine Head songs to end like Davidian. Like, just end it on the most crushing fucking part you can. But, you know, that was kind of a different mindset, and that was all the way back in 1994, so, you know, things change. But what we didn't expect, and when we were looking into this, we noticed that there were some bonus tracks in the CD version. One of them was an acoustic version of Arrows and Words from the Sky, which we skipped. We already heard the song. We don't need the acoustic version.
I don't need to hear it. I'll listen to it later by myself or something.
But the other bonus track, Exteroception, I don't even know what the fuck that means.
That fucking song is the best damn thing on this album.
Oh my god.
It's a death metal instrumental.
It is, dude, Meshuggah, fucking Fear Factory, anything you can think of with syncopated chugs, dude, Decapitated. I mean, it's goddamn.
It's awesome.
This is a good fucking song.
Vog, did you write this one? Vog.
I feel like you did. I feel like you definitely had a hand in it. I feel like
this felt like a collaboration.
Yeah.
This felt like a band song.
It felt like, you know, you had like elements of like the Machine Head sound, like there's some really good leads, thrashy riffs, but there's a distinct death metal vibe to it. And
which comes from jamming as a band.
I mean, yeah.
When you have guys in Machine Head and Decapitated. You get this. And it's fucking killer. Take this, put a pin on it over the damn studio and say, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we need to work on.
Honestly, like, why is this a bonus track? This should have been on
here.
I
don't know.
This should have been on the record. I mean, it's an instrumental. You know, Machine Head likes to do instrumentals every now and again, but this should have been on the album.
Yeah.
Why is this a bonus track? I mean, obviously, fuck, if you're gonna buy the record, who's gonna buy the normal version versus the bonus tracks? Everybody's a sucker for that shit. But
the only thing I can think is maybe they were in the studio jamming and it came out during the studio sessions, or he didn't have vocals to it, or didn't feel the vocals.
It didn't need vocals.
But it didn't need vocals, and if he is feeling that, then just get a vocalist, man. You're fucking Machine Head. As long as your ass is on the pick, dude, I don't give a fuck who's on the mic.
And honestly, that was, you know, kind of goes into an issue like this is kind of a bloated album. Like with the bonus tracks in here, this track's 70 minutes. And, well, at least it's not the almost 75 that was Catharsis, which was thoroughly not enjoyable.
No.
But, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here that does suffer from a bit of bloat. Like, this is a little bit long-winded. I think Overdose is a good lead-in in terms of, like, an interlude, but you also have Assimilate and Terminus, which, at that point, I kind of feel like they don't need to be there. Like, you know, Assimilate's kind of cool because it sounds like Burton's talking about the end of the world and cyborgs and shit. I don't know, but the rest of it just kind of sounds like shit you would hear going at a Halloween attraction, like going into the haunted house or some shit. But outside of that, I was actually pretty fucking pleased with this. And believe me, I was going in going, oh God, don't fuck this up.
I mean, we all were. Let's be honest here. I've been a Machine Head fan since the early 90s. I've seen some things come out of this band. And I think we were all going into it like, let's see what happens. Like, it could be great.
Oh. And that's the thing with Machine Head Men. Their pitfalls are like, and not just shit the bed, like shit the bed, roll around with it, and then launch yourself into any fucking wall and just making shit fucking art with it. Like, they royally shit the bed when they shit the bed, but they didn't this time.
Almost done. One
almost
of my
done.
favorite bands.
I know. I'm sorry, but there was some shit albums.
All right,
but overall,
I'm gonna fucking troll these motherfuckers.
I'm not done trolling you. There might be still a little bit of trolling.
I know better not to troll you. Jesus Christ, you kidding me?
But
I'll rip my throat out.
Honestly, like overall, I really dug this, and I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I was pretty surprised with it. When it was strong, it was possibly stronger than they have been in a few years. Actually, yeah.
In a very long time.
I wasn't even the biggest fan of Bloodstone and Diamonds, but this, I think, is better than that. And yeah, there's strong songwriting. I think Rob's clean's really good. Maybe not use them as much. I kind of want more of the aggression because, my God, when they're aggressive, they're fucking good. The riffs on here are fucking sick. The breakdowns, again, some of the heaviest breakdowns I've ever heard them write. if you were a longtime Machine Head fan and been kind of hesitant about getting new Machine Head, I'm actually going to get this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go get this. It's a fucking solid album.
It's a 3.5 for me, too. Look, I've been a Machine Head listener for a very long time. Burn My Eyes, The More Things Change, those albums were staples in my metal-dumb, so to speak. Like, that's...
Dumb.
That's how I became a metalhead, so I've had a lot of respect for this band for a long time, and obviously, like Nick said, they shit the bed a couple times, Supercharger, Catharsis. Oh. But, going into this, especially coming out of the EP, I thought there was a lot of potential on the EP, so that was already worth a day in court for this album. And then this album came along, and for what was really good on this album, it was really good. Obviously, they still know how to write riffs. The lead work, Rob's always been a pretty decent lead player. It's not the flashiest in the world, but he's good at what he does for the band he's in. Naveen Koperwees obviously was a great addition on drums. Overall, I thought this record had more good parts than it had bad parts, and the couple things that I did disagree with, maybe I won't even play those songs again, but I liked a majority of this album and was reminded a lot of old school Machine Head, which is what my love for this band has always been. So like Nick said, if you are an old school Machine Head fan and you want a taste of what this band used to be and what they are now, give this record a shot, because it's a pretty fucking decent listen.
I'm gonna go 4. Reasoning, a little nod because these guys are being a dick.
Oh, wait, one dick? We're a collective dick?
We are one dick? How are we one? I don't like
you guys are a collective
Chinese
dick.
finger trap.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys are the gross.
I know. Especially since we have to move closer to get it off there.
Stop. Don't.
And another thing, I was at like a 3.5 for the whole thing up until like the bonus track, and the bonus track is that good for me. I really dug it, so that's enough to bump it up too. I was between a 3.5 and a 4 with that, and then they were being assholes, so 4 out of 5. But honestly, you could take out Unhallowed and No Gods, No Masters, take those songs out. You take the bridge from No Gods, No Masters, you put it anywhere you want, because the bridge on that is one of the most fucking killer things I've ever heard in my life. You can put it anywhere. You trim out some of the fat of this album in the middle. You can even keep your assimilate little thing doodad with Kill Thy Enemies. Keep it in there, it's fine. You cut those songs out behind it and you bookend it with some killer shit, and you have a little bit of like dull moment there where it opens up into whatever chorusy stuff. It's fine, it's an album, it moves, it flows, I'm okay with it. It just dips too much and it stays in the rut too long and chorus too much. That's the problem I have. But you take that shit out, and this is one of the best albums of the year, but they didn't, so that's why they get a 4.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there'll be a link down below to thrallsofmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there, as well as our shop, where you can get one of our kick-ass shirts.
And possibly some new merch soon.
Possibly.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. And, of course, thank you all to everyone that has liked, subscribed, commented. You know, even the salty five-finger death punch fans, I appreciate you guys taking the time to try to insult us. You're doing the best you can. Yay.
See, I punked out. I'm not gonna take that. Hey, you guys you got time for
That's
that.
all right. We'll take it. Band sucks.
I was a little bitch.
Sorry, that was 47 minutes of time I'll never get back.
47 minutes and 9 seconds.
I did listen to it. I went through it though with you guys.
God, you didn't have to.
I know I didn't. I felt I had to though.
I'm sorry, dude.
Because
it's kind of noble. That's kind of noble.
I hit the button. I was like, I hope those fuckers appreciate this.
That's 47 minutes and 9 seconds of time you'll never get back.
I mean, I watched AI, so that was longer.
Yeah, good point. But Ministry was in there. Anyway, thank you all once again. Plenty of stuff coming on the channel. And, well, we will catch you later.